What's up? It is the Sports Live on a Monday after a big, long weekend in sports with March Madness, NCAA tournament games all for the last 4 days. And Friday night, the Titans hit us with some news, a blockbuster trade as the Titans are acquiring Chiefs cornerback L'Jarius Sneed via trade for a 2025 third-round pick and a seventh-round pick swap in this year's draft, which, Zach, we are 1 month away today, April 25th, the first round of the NFL draft. The Titans will be on the clock at 7, but they've got a bolstered cornerback room with L'Jarius Sneed. Not quite official yet because awaiting the official contract extension to make that trade official. And so we're going to have a lot to talk about. One-word reaction, as you know, I'm sure everybody, Zach and I were scattered. We were like 3 time zones apart when this happened on Friday night. I don't know what you were doing in Vegas.
Well, I was in Pacific time. You were Eastern.
That's right. Well,
we were far away.
Yes, but I'll tell you what I was doing when I saw the news of L'Jarius Sneed traded the Tennessee Titans. So we're gonna have a heck of a show. One-word reaction for that. We'll talk about why I think the Chiefs settled for the trade price. What is this contract going to be? The Titans are going to fork over, and maybe a little update from this morning from head coach Brian Callahan before we talk about some knee injury concerns for L'Jarius Sneed as well, covering this thing from start to finish, and then the age game to wrap up our Monday show. So Zach, welcome in. Hope Vegas treated you well. I see a rare show that I have more facial hair than you on this show. That usually doesn't happen that much.
Well, you know, when you go to Vegas, you know, people don't judge you. You know, you can look and act, you know, whatever the hell you want. So this is usually the time I go on a ski trip. I grow my beard out big, and when I cut my beard off, I usually go mustache. And so it timed up. And look, this may be the magic mustache because I came back to Nashville with a lot more money than I went with, and so treated me right. I enjoyed that. But look, this is a great show because the Titans were in big time news over the weekend, and Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan have really put their pieces together and have completely kind of flipped this thing, if you look at it. And so we'll look at what they did this weekend. We'll get all of the opinions from the chat, which will be exciting and unique. We want to grow our community. How this works is we broadcast on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So we got you locked in there. We will tweet out link by link, segment by segment, our YouTube link, which is on our Twitter handle at A to Z Sports. Give us a follow there. We got great news and coverage going out on our Twitter handle. And if you are on YouTube, that's the easiest way to watch these live streaming shows. Make sure you do 3 things. First, subscribe to the channel. We've continuously grown. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We're a little over 17,000, trying to get to 20. So help us out there. If you've already subscribed, you can do the next 2 things, which is like this video, helps the community grow, and also ring the bell. Make sure that alert is on because we go live right around 8 o'clock, maybe 8:01, maybe 8:09, maybe 8:11, 8:05, who knows? But it doesn't really matter because you'll get a live alert on your phone via YouTube. So keep it locked there. Those are your YouTube instructions. Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share not a public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. So share the show around, and we'll get this party started on a live Monday morning with a lot of news to break down.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you. Like Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better coverage and get a quote today at fbhp.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in the mid-state, Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. They are online at KrebsKubota.com. What a week. What a weekend it was in sports as the Titans trade for L'Jarius Sneed. The news coming down late Friday night for me. I was in Eastern time. Zach was in Pacific time. Buck was in Pacific time. And L'Jarius Sneed, a 2025 third-round pick and a swap of seventh-round picks this year is the trade compensation. And Jordan Schultz had the initial contract extension that has not been finalized, but sources, here are the terms on L'Jarius Sneed's new contract with the Titans. According to Jordan Schultz, that have not been finalized or confirmed yet. $19 million per year over 4 years with $55 million guaranteed. So that is the news. Zach, I know you and Sam talked Friday about L'Jarius Sneed and the rumblings around the Titans. What did you guys have a feeling of on that Friday show when it came to the rumors of the Titans kind of sticking their nose around L'Jarius Sneed, and where did you guys leave that conversation and going into the weekend?
Well, Sam and I were on the same page honestly, we were not comfortable with trading for Sneed. Obviously, if the deal was not right. Worried, and my whole thing was I was worried about the picks, right? Couldn't give up a second round pick this year, right? Then you don't pick for a long, long time, right? You can't do that. Can't give up a third, right? Because you don't have a third.
Yep.
You can't give up a fourth, I feel like. I mean, if you give up a fourth this year, there's a huge gap. You got 1 and 2, you're top heavy. So then you're talking about a future. And if you're talking about a future, we discussed maybe a second or a third round pick in the future. And my whole thing is that you don't know where you're going to be picking. You know, the top of the third round or the top of the second round, that's huge value, right? And then on top of, you're going to have to pay the man. Now, they came together. That was all of us speculating on what the picks were. I think that's the hard part of not being a part of the negotiations and really in the Chiefs' shoes, because they hear from multiple teams. Multiple teams were inquiring about L'Jarius Sneed. The Titans were big players in this early on. Then the talks, they had to kind of figure it out. I think more teams got involved, but ultimately they came back around because what it looks and appears to me, Austin, and this is kind of what I have loved about the Titans offseason, they have gone through on their whiteboard and said, what do we need, right? And they've checked damn near 80% of the boxes of what they need, whether it's a wide receiver, whether it now is a cornerback, which I think has value. They went and got a running back to complement. They already had Tajay Spears. Now is Tajay Spears complimenting Tobin Pollard or vice versa? They kind of got a 1-2 punch there. They got depth at middle linebacker or slightly depth at middle linebacker. They got another corner check. And they late last week, they complimented Jeffrey Simmons a little bit, right, with an interior defensive lineman. So all of these boxes. Now, the big box up top is offensive left tackle, which they've got a top 10 pick for that they better use it for. But, man, this checks another box. And you know what? It helps some of the question marks that we were all going into this year having at the corner position, right? Like Caleb Farley, now it's just anything that he can give is a bonus and you expect nothing, right?
Yeah.
Christian Fulton's moved on. You don't have to worry about him. You've got your now core piece in a passing league. And I think that's what I have loved about this offseason. Sneed's move, they're going to have to pay him a lot of money. We don't know what the final numbers will be. We know what the compensation package is, but we don't know what the true dollar figure of what they're going to have to pay him. But they had a lot of money to spend. So if they're willing to do that, I was more okay with them spending the money than giving up the assets, because that's how you build over time, in my opinion.
Boy, and Sean says it sounds like they're taking advantage of the rookie quarterback contracts and spending lots of money. And if it's what Jordan Schultz has reported, a $55 million guaranteed, an average of 19 per. Now, that's not what L'Jarius Sneed was reportedly asking for per year. He was wanting to be north of 20, and the Titans get him on an average of 19. But I'm guessing the 55 mil was a lot more guaranteed. The Titans were able to fork up than potentially other teams that wanted to trade for Sneed, which at the end of the day, L'Jarius Sneed wants guaranteed money, just like every NFL player. We'll talk about the injury concerns coming up. I see Demetrius. I favored a few comments I wanted to get to here real quick. Demetrius says it's a new day in Titans country. Titans are fleecing teams and not the other way around. The Titans would have definitely paid A.J. Brown his worth under Chef Ran. I think that would probably be the case for sure. So now I will say, the A.J. Brown contract in today's economy would have been like $31 million per year based off of percentage of cap. So they would have been
a 1,400-yard wide receiver, right? So
yes.
Calvin Ridley's not a 1,400-yard wide receiver.
That Calvin Ridley's getting 23 per. In today's economy, AJ's 31 based off of that contract he got from the Eagles a couple of years ago. It moves fast, people. Pistol Randy says the Titans fleeced the Chiefs right there. Let's hear from the head coach himself. That would be Brian Callahan, who is at the NFL owners meetings and was in a scrum of media. And this is from our guy Jim Wyatt from the Tennessee Titans there in Orlando talking to Brian Callahan.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ease up on that one until everything's sure, officially done. But there'll be a time and a place to talk about all that. Just excited about the player that he is. But as far as any kind of official commentary, we'll wait till it's all signed and sealed.
Sure. I thought that was funny because he's like, we have to wait for the official thing. But I'm really excited about the player that he is. Like, does that not mean that this has happened? like I don't think Brian Callahan would have said, I'm really excited about the player that he is if it wasn't officially a done deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, they woke up and had a conversation before breakfast saying, all right, well, we can't say much because the deal's not officially done or inked. But, they gave you – I mean, I think they wouldn't have inquired as many times as they had to try to get the deal done and eventually get the deal done if they weren't excited about the player that he is. They really feel like he can come in and be an anchor in the secondary. And that's something that, Kevin Byard has been the anchor in the secondary at safety overall for a number of years. He's moved on to now 2 different teams, now signing with Chicago in the offseason after the short stint in Philly. This is the guy, right? Now you look at Titans history and, you start to think of Malcolm Butler's contract, right? Because that was a massive deal. This Sneed contract is going to be a massive deal. And they paid some big time corners and they're going to have to cover. The Texans are not your mama's Texans anymore. They're a new breed that CJ Stroud throws the ball all over the yard. The Jags are a little bit of a shell of themselves from the 2-year run 2 years ago, the run to the playoffs, right, when they beat the Chargers and lost to the Chiefs, but won 7 straight games. And then you've got the Colts that have been the most probably consistent roster. Their struggle has always been, how do we get over the edge? Yep. Quarterback, how do we get over the edge? We've had old guy, backup, and they drafted the young guy, but Gardner Minshew was taking majority of the snaps because of, coincidentally, Harold Landry in that collision with Anthony Richardson and the shoulder injury. They're going to throw the football in this league. And I always say this, and you probably get tired of me saying this, but the Titans are working to eventually compete with the likes of the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, and the Bengals. Those 4 teams all have offensive firepower, right? They can kill you in a lot of different ways, whether it's at quarterback, whether it's at running the football with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. We know more about that. So that's what they're trying to do. I like the building blocks to eventually get there.
All right, so let's get to this. Our first question to get the chat more involved this morning. What is one word to describe the Titans trading for L'Jarius Sneed for a 2025 third-round pick. What is one word to describe the Titans trading for L'Jarius Sneed for a 2025 third-round pick? So future pick. But first, let me tell you guys about our bracket challenge over presented by our friends at Prince's Hot Chicken at the Tanger Outlets, Nashville. We got weekend number 2 coming up for the tournament, and Prince's Hot Chicken at the Tanger Outlets is the place you need to go to watch these games coming up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because all tournament long, you get a great deal of 10 winglets with your choice of heat, fries, and a drink for just $17.50. It's at the Tanger Outlets, Nashville's newest shopping destination, where your favorite brands are up to 70% off. And that's hundreds of your favorite brands, an unbeatable value there at the Tanger Outlets in Nashville off of Cane Ridge. And for Prince's Hot Chicken, Nashville's original hot chicken, busting with heat and flavor. There's nothing better than the original. So the deal all tournament long, 10 winglets, choice of heat, fries, and a drink for $17.50 at the Tanger Outlets. I will give a quick update. The leader right now is Dozhowski, and Rand Carthon's Spirit Animal are tied at the top of our challenge after the first weekend. But Zach, I'll send you back to the chat. One word to describe how Titans fans are reacting to the Titans trading for cornerback L'Jarius Sneed for a 2025 third-round pick.
I'm going to say this real quick. It's fun. We've been doing one word for years and years and years. It's funny to see how the internet, I mean, I guess it's a form of flattery, but the internet, more people are just doing this, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think this was created about 6 years ago of us asking community. But hey, the internet is free and you can do whatever you want. But
2018 season is when we started doing that on the post.
Let's see here. Aggressive. That's the first word that we have, which you can't disagree there. Let's see here. Smart coming in here. Steven says fleece, ripoff. Hello, ladies. Ran from Duran. Outstanding from Andre. Lockdown from Nate Burner. Back from Austin Bond. Necessary from Corey. Needed from Brock. Confused there from Luman, which is confusing, but he's confused. Zach says playoffs. Linwood says smart, dynamic from Andrew, excuse me. Steal from Michael. Pistol Ramsey says fleeced, refresh from Paul. Splash from Devin. Home ran from Jay. So they're right there. Work with me, fellas. We'll work with you, Jay, with home ran. Competitive from Zoe. Carthon from Steven. Gutsy from J. Rome. Fire from Two Man. Masterpiece from Manny. Cooking from Patrick Bird. Upgrade from Chandler. Steal from Darius. Elite. Finessed from Buck's burner account. Receipts from Jason. Don Carthon from Jack. Hyphen in there to make it one word. Bargain from Connor. This is Sneeded. We've got some good words coming in here. Exciting, beast, shocked, hype, playoffs, which is kind of funny. That's the second playoffs that we've seen throughout this one-word challenge. David Johnson says robbery, culture changing from King, exciting, and hopeful. So a lot of words there, a lot of good words from our community. Austin, what is one word for you to describe this deal for Sneed?
I'm going to go with aggressive, Zach. This is something that we talked about 2 Mondays ago of the Titans. How aggressive were they going to be in this free agency period? And this is technically free agency in a way because of the trade on a guy who was getting the franchise tag. But, I mean, the Titans are going all in on this. And I feel like after the first wave,
there are 10. Well, we should just reset. What's your number
10.
Now of aggressive? Yeah, 10. 10.
I'll give it 10. 10. All 10 fingers. And if you can throw in your toes there, then this is 20 out of 10 when it comes to the aggressive level the Titans are. And I've seen some people floating out there that are national media that really don't know much about the temperature inside the building of the Titans really believe in Will Levis. I mean, my stance on that is yeah, I think they do inside the building. I think they believe in Will Levis. And the fact is that they are doing what the Miami Dolphins did with Tua Tagovailoa. They're going to let the quarterback tell them if the quarterback is the right guy or the wrong guy, but it's not going to be for a lack of weapons. It's not going to, there are no excuses for the quarterback to succeed or not succeed, right? There's not going to be the gray area that Justin Fields has had with the Chicago Bears. You're going to know the answer on Will Levis over the next couple of seasons if he's the guy or not, because the offense is significantly upgraded with pass catching weapons. You're going to have a better offensive line. They've already started to put that together. And now the defense is going to be able to compete, because so many times we've been able to see this Titans defense bend and not break until the fourth quarter and the dam breaks, because they've been bending for the last 45, 50 minutes of game time because the offense can't put up points. And so I've got something else too, because I saw Michael McKnight said MMCNB is back. Well, how about MMCN TDs? My man catch no touchdowns, because there were just 4 cornerbacks last season with over 400 coverage snaps that didn't give up a touchdown. The Titans have 2 of them. It's L'Jarius Sneed and Roger McCreary. And so now you've got L'Jarius Sneed, Cheeto Awuzie, and Roger McCreary as your top 3 corners. If everybody stays healthy, we'll talk about Sneed's knee later on, but you've got an aggressive secondary that doesn't give up points. And it's their position nature to give up points. And so aggressive is my one word officially, Zach.
My one word is a process that the Titans, we figured out, had needed to do for years and years and years. And they haven't, but now they are evolving. This is them evolving. They have not evolved. They're not doing the same thing and expecting a different result. They didn't go get, they could have gone out and, they replaced Derrick Henry with, go and get AJ Dillon and run the football again. They didn't do that. They are evolving. They are evolving by going to get big time wide receivers, going to get big time corners, going to get big time running backs that can do a multitude of things. Derrick Henry was very, very good, stellar, unbelievable, great. But we all saw him hold back the offense. And was it his fault? No, I don't necessarily think it was his fault, but they didn't have the quarterback to support Derrick Henry and the offense that they were running. Now, offense, defense, and special teams. Let's not forget about special teams. Didn't they re-sign Nick Folk?
Sure did.
Sure did. Didn't they just made the big move, the tough move, to go away from Kern and go to Stonehouse? And Stone, you hope that he can get back to where he was, but he was the best damn punter in the league, right? So now you're working on 3 different facets of football. You're evolving 3 different facets of football: offense, defense, and special teams. That, I think, is if it would have been anybody else, it would have been the same word. But that has been what this offseason has represented. And evolving by trading, we talk in the chat, you sit there and you see people hate talking about the Titans. The national media is sick over this. Oh, gross. Adam Schefter gets queasy tweeting out a Titans jersey, right? He doesn't like that. That doesn't move the needle. Well, the Tennessee Titans are evolving. And you would hope and think and pray, if you're a Titans fan, that this is going to be kind of the new normal. The Texans were in the same boat. Nobody likes to talk about the Houston Texans. And now they were the main feature heading into the playoffs with CJ Stroud and how he played, and then his playoff performance. And then, you ran into a buzzsaw, but there's a lot to build on. The Titans are trying, and you brought it up, Austin, to start. I think that is exactly what they're doing. They're not going to sit there and one day say, well, we should have given him more help, or, man, he was a good quarterback. He wasn't a great quarterback, but that wasn't his fault. It was all the pieces around him. It was the system. Derrick Henry didn't help him enough. It's going to be up to Will Levis.
Yeah.
There's no excuses. And he doesn't have the luxury of a 5th year to maybe earn that. You got 3 years before the contract's up because he's a 2nd-round pick. But in 3 years, there's not going to be any excuses for us to sit here and scratch our head and say, man, should they pay Will Levis that big contract? He's going to have to go out and earn it. It's going to be easier on him to earn it because of the team that ran Carthon and Brian Callahan. Because I also think that if Mike Vrabel was still here, a lot of these moves I just don't see happening. I just don't think it's in the nature. I think they needed a fresh new outlook, a fresh new culture, a fresh new scheme. I think that's what Brian Callahan has complimented Rand Carthon. And then the big part of this is they had the cash. They had the cold, hard cash. The NFL gave them almost $30 million additionally in a year that they went out and spent the money. The Bears have done the same thing pretty much, right? The Bears 3 years ago were like, we're gearing up. We're gearing up. The Texans gearing up. The Titans were in the same spot. They knew Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry were coming off the books. They came off the books, and they're spending like wildfire, and we're seeing it.
All right, so a lot of great stuff there. So your one word evolve, my one word aggressive. I think all
evolving.
Evolving.
Because that is very important. They're still in the process. They're coming out of the cocoon trying to be that beautiful butterfly that is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. But they gotta have some time to cook a little bit inside. Get in the oven. They're still in the oven.
Fair enough. Zach, I got another word for you. And that one is bargain. Why I think the Chiefs settled for not a 2024 day 2 pick, but a 2025 third round pick. Because that's what the Titans gave up, a 2025 third round pick, and they pick swap in the 7th round, which the Titans have 3 7th round picks anyway. What's dropping to 32 instead of 7, right? Is that what it is? Well, there's compensatory picks.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know who the hell is going to be Mr. Irrelevant or who's picking that. But yeah, dropping from 7 to 32 in the 7th round, no big deal because of that. So why I think the Chiefs settled for a 2025 third round pick. But Zach, first tell us all about our great friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your health plan. I got my health plan. I love my health plan. Health, dental, and vision, 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. Farm Bureau Health Plans, over 75 years of coverage. And man, have they helped so many Tennesseans, Middle Tennesseans, East, West, Cookeville. I mean, it doesn't matter. Clarksville, Jackson, all across the state, wherever you live, they've got you covered. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee. It's very simple. You go online to fbhp.com/A to Z. You get a health assessment. Then you get a quote and you make the decision. It's up to you whether you want to switch or not. I made the decision a few years ago now, more than 2 years ago, to make that switch. I'm glad that I did. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee. If you're in the state of Tennessee, take a look and at least look at a plan. fbhp.com/ATOZ.
And with BetMGM, you can win big. I actually had probably the best opening weekend of the NCAA tournament I've had since we've been working with BetMGM for 4 years. And
I used BetMGM all weekend long because BetMGM was at the Aria and they kind of control Vegas. Oh my God, this app, and they don't give you any promos. You're in Vegas, so like you're in it's a different setup. But man, great weekend for A and Z for the March Madness tournament.
Oh man, I had promos galore because I was sitting there using odds boost tokens and parlay boosts and March matchups tokens and hitting them. Had Tennessee and Marquette to hit the Sweet 16. Got those babies. I won nice on BetMGM this weekend right there. And you can always win nicely with BetMGM too. Our bonus code ATOZ Sports gets you a first bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses. So go big with that first bet when you sign up with BetMGM with code ATOZ Sports. Up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and other requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued non-double bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem game, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. All right, we need more people to like the show too. If you're watching on Facebook and on YouTube, hit that like button. Hit it right now. That helps us out quite a bit. Okay. Why I think the Titans settled the Chiefs settled for a 2025 third round pick, because that is what Tom Pelissero has as the trade compensation, a 2025 third round pick. We thought for the most part that the Chiefs would not take anything less than a third round pick this year. Titans don't have one, so they have to trade for 38 overall or get kind of cute and fancy to get something done. Here's what I think, Zach. I think the Chiefs felt that L'Jarius Sneed's asking price for a contract was getting too high, and that was going to hurt and eliminate some teams from the trade market. So when it's all said and done, the Chiefs are sitting there. The Titans have been whispering and trying to talk about this for about 7 to 10 days. And then all of a sudden, the Titans are still sitting there and say, hey, 2025 third rounder. We don't have a 2024 third round. How about 2025? And the Chiefs thought it would be better to go ahead and get your compensatory pick for losing L'Jarius Sneed a year early. Because if L'Jarius Sneed would have played on the franchise tag this year at $19.8 million, which the Chiefs are okay with. Charles Goldman, our Chiefs guy for A to Z Sports and one of our managers on the website, he's wrote this, reported it, said the Chiefs are totally fine when it comes to cap space with Sneed playing for 19.8 in 2024, but he's probably gone after that. So when the Chiefs lose him after this season, they'll probably get a third round compensatory pick, but that's the 2026 draft. So you might as well take it now. They're taking it a year earlier for losing out on Sneed. And so that is what I believe is the reason why the Chiefs settled. They knew that the clock was ticking. And so that's my thought on why the Chiefs said, all right, 2025 third, let's swap in the 7th. Let's call it a day. You guys pay the guy $55 million guaranteed. And the Chiefs says, we got Trent McDuffie anyway.
With the team that is probably or projected, we don't know what the Titans are going to do this year, but they're projected that third round pick could be a pretty high third round pick.
I mean, it's going to be, maybe late 60s, early 70s, which is around that late in the top 10, early teens.
Because if Titans are middle of the road, it's a good pick. If the Titans are awful, which they could be, you don't know. They're a different team. It's tough. This is the beauty of the NFL. This is why they have so much turnover of playoff teams every single solitary year. Different playoff teams always come in and they get involved. The Titans could be that. They also could be bad. And so I think that the Chiefs were willing to risk that more so with the Tennessee Titans, who had the money, right? They were probably more likely, as you kind of stated, to fill Sneed's financial needs, in his opinion, and they needed corner help. So it made a lot of sense for both sides. I don't know what the pick is going to be. We'll find out at the end. But yeah, I think both sides think that they're okay with this, right? They wouldn't have done the deal without it. But I think that the Titans needed the help at that position. And the Chiefs were like, we're just in the timeline that we need to make a move now rather than later.
Yeah, and I think the Titans, I think you have to give Rand Carthon a lot of credit for pulling off the deal that he did. A third round pick in 2 drafts from now. Like, remember when we talked about T. Higgins trade or L'Jarius Sneed trade possibilities with the Titans over the last 6 weeks, my whole thought process was wait it out, sweat it out. Let the draft go by and give up a pick in the 2025 draft. That was my philosophy. Well, I think it's even more impressive that Rand Carthon was able to do this in March before this draft for 2 drafts away. And so I think the reason why I feel like the Titans are okay with giving up this draft capital is because they truly are going in, as somebody who commented earlier, I showed up on the screen, one of the first comments we showed of going all in on the rookie quarterback contract. Because do you need third round picks? Like, yes, like third round picks are valuable. They're top 100 picks. You get top 100 players in the draft to see if they can turn into Kevin Byard or turn into some of these other guys like Jonnu Smith or whoever else the Titans have had success in the third round or day 2 of the draft. For the Titans have been great in day 2 of the draft. But the Titans don't need third round draft picks right now. They'll need third round draft picks when Will Levis is potentially making $50 million a year. Because right now, Will Levis is making $9 million over 4 years. And so now you can go spend and trade away third-round picks to go spend a top cornerback, maybe one of the best corners in the league, to pay him right now. So then when you sign Will Levis, now you're having to go draft younger, because anybody they draft with a third-round pick this year or next year, they're going to have to owe up on that deal while Will Levis is making a bunch of money. But the guy you draft in the third round in 2026 and 2027, those are cheap rookie contracts, while Will Levis is in year 5 and 6 of his career.
All right. Well, we talked a lot of roses. This is a great deal. This is unbelievable. This is amazing. What a job the Titans have done. They flipped the script. They're evolving. They're aggressive. They're making deals. They're paying guys. There is something else, though, right?
Yeah.
There is a question mark about Sneed's health. And I did mention Caleb Farley one time in this show. There's twice.
Mm-hmm.
Injured guys, the best ability is availability. I don't know if you watched any of that Purdue game yesterday, but Utah State, not available. Why? Because they fouled Zach Edey 4 times the first 30 seconds. Big guys weren't available. Can Sneed be available? Because he has been, which has been incredible, right? Very impressive with his availability. But there's also reasoning besides maybe what you said on the Chiefs parting ways at the time they did. And there's some rumors swirling out about one of those knees.
Yeah. So I'll give you guys the information first, and then we'll go into some opinions about how we feel about this. So this is from Charles Goldman of A to Z Sports.com, who covers the Chiefs for us. Sneed suffered a knee injury during the postseason run 2 seasons ago, 2 Super Bowl wins ago, ahead of that AFC Championship game. It caused him to be limited in practice leading up to that game, but it didn't seem to impact him much more. In this past offseason, Sneed still dealt with knee swelling. He missed 12 days of training camp and all 3 preseason games while nursing that lingering knee injury. The team remained steadfast in their belief that Sneed would be ready to play by week 1, and he was. He was also listed on the injury report with the same knee injury until week 8, with several limited and full participation days in practice, but no games missed. He reappeared on the injury report again after the bye week in week 10 with the same injury. The second stay on the injury report lasted through week 17, at which point Sneed suffered a calf injury and was listed as questionable for week 17. He sat out during the last week of the season in week 18 because the Chiefs had everything locked up, but was listed on the injury report throughout the entire playoffs. The knee injury didn't appear to limit him in any way during the regular season, as evidenced by his performance, but it's certainly something that teams are going to want to check out. There's a variety of issues coming that can cause swelling, but if this is a long-term knee issue, it could impact how much teams are willing to offer in free agency. All that said, the Chiefs did a good job at managing the injury this last year, so it's reasonable that other teams could do the same. Without proper background on the injury, signing him could prove to be a gamble. So that's a lot there, but he was on the injury report for all but the bye week last year. Now, he didn't miss a game until they were done, right? Week 18, they pulled everybody. They were set at the 3 seed. So I want to ask you guys this question. What is your level of concern for L'Jarius Sneed's knee injury with the Titans on a 1 through 10 scale? What is your level of concern for L'Jarius Sneed's knee injury with the Titans on a 1 through 10 scale? But first, I'm going to tell all you guys about our great friends at the Bone and Joint Institute, talking about knee injuries. And maybe you have a lingering injury from your past athletic days, or maybe just life has you getting hurt every once in a while. You feel that pain in your back, your shoulder, your knee, whatever it may be. Don't wait and let it linger. Get it checked out in the Bone and Joint Institute. They have all the experts and the resources in Franklin, right off of I-65, right there in Franklin, Tennessee, and Murfreesboro Pike. boneandjointtn.org is their website. It's super easy to go book an appointment there. So don't let that injury linger. Go get it checked out. If you have a son or daughter who gets hurt playing youth sports, they can take care of them too, all under one roof. The experts, the resources, the facilities in one spot. book online, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z sports.com. Well, you can see BetMGM right all over with that bonus code ATOZ Sports. Download the app today. BetMGM, they power us here in the morning, and they can power your wallet and your pocketbook right there if you download the app today in your Apple or Android app store. That's BetMGM. They're the king of the sports book. They've got different promos going all throughout March, all throughout April. They're constantly, the NBA will come back around in the playoff push. They'll have promo codes for there. But use this bonus code ATOZ Sports and get locked in and download the BetMGM app today. Real quick, Austin, I do want to bring this comment up because, and look, I don't know if they're new to the show, maybe not, but I did star this. Jaquan Fitzpatrick says, why do I feel like Zach is just being a downer this morning? WTF, bro. With Vrabel's stash, I don't mind you commenting. You got plenty. My feelings don't get hurt. Colts Twitter drumming up BS with this knee, right? So, and it's the first time I've seen a name Q without the U after it. So that's unique. But I'll tell you why, Jaquan, because that's how this show works. If we sat up here with Titans flags behind us and just told you how great the Titans are going to be and how they're going to win the Super Bowl and it's going to be unbelievable and the whole era has changed and you should go out there and buy season tickets, spend all your money, this is going to be unbelievable. That's not how this works, brother. This is you diagnose, you give opinions, but you also got to give both sides of the ball. I'm sure Colts fans are butthurt half the way because they didn't get them. But now that they didn't get them, they're saying we didn't want them. I mean, that's how fanship works. But that A to Z Sports is different than maybe the other streaming services that you inquire or use. We got to give you both sides. We're not blowing two-tone roses up your behind, Jaquan. That's real. The knee is real. The injury report is real. And that's why we talked about it. And now we ask for your opinion. So to clarify that.
And let me just clear something up too, because Colts fans are not the ones who are drumming up this Sneed knee stuff. I just went back and confirmed it. The first article that A to Z Sports published about L'Jarius Sneed's knee issue was on February 23rd, which is before he got the franchise tag. He was still a pending free agent at that point. Then the Chiefs put the franchise tag on him that does this. And so this is not anything the Colts are doing. That was Charles Goldman, who covers the Chiefs for us, and Sam have had several conversations. We published a lot of things. We've tried to throw out the story of the L'Jarius Sneed knee issue. So, what is the cause for concern on a 1 through 10 scale? Because I do find this interesting because a lot of people are like, he played, he didn't miss a game besides the last one, right? And he played really at a high level. I just mentioned it. He's one of a few guys that did not give up a touchdown in the regular season. He did give up 2 touchdowns in the playoffs, one in the AFC Championship game, and then one in the divisional round against the Bills, and then one in the Super Bowl to Juwan Jennings. But, 1 through 10, what is the injury concern for Titans fans on this? I see Andrews at a 3. And Derek is at a 1. So a lot of low concerns there. I'm definitely a lot higher than that. Zach, what are you seeing in the chat?
Ashley goes 3. Steven goes 5. Steve with 4. Tornado Freaks, which is an interesting name, goes 9. It's kind of a freaky number right there. John 1. Rashid 3. Brian 4. IR 2. 5.5. Still low numbers. Hill 0. Eric 2. American Toff 4. I think that's why it's a valid question, is you have all of the great things that he's done and the fact that he didn't miss time, right? Injury reports. Tom Brady was on the injury report for God knows how long, right? Didn't miss time, played at a very high level,
right?
But it is a thing. It has to be discussed, right? That's kind of going to back to my other point. Orlando goes 3-0 for Eric, 4.69 from Stephen King, Maven with 4, Austin with 3, Jill Morris is going 4. Harold 1-3 from Jemai. Hashtag goes 1. Zoe 4. Cameron 3. So very low numbers. There's a couple higher number. Ethan goes 6.5 and David goes 7. Russ goes 7 as well. And then we've got your 4.55, 4.53. So right around that, I'll just go ahead and say mine. I'm right around that 4.55, 4.53. I'm at a 4. And I think two things get me below the line, right? If 5 is the line, I'm below the line. I think 4 is it's a knee. Cornerbacks need their knees. They need their hips. They need to run. They need to defend. He's proven that he can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going lower and lower. And I think two things. One, the fact that he played all of the games. That if he would have missed 1 or 3 or 5 games and then still played at a high level, but the fact that this was an issue, he played at a high level and he played consistently is valuable. And then it's March 25th. You know, he has time to heal. The Titans, hopefully they can get him in here and help him out better than they've helped other injured players over the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And that probably has my, I'm a little bit higher now and not a 3 because of that. The Titans have dealt with injury-riddled players. Now, whose fault is that and why? I think that's on a case-by-case basis. But I'm at a 4 because I don't think it's a big deal, but it obviously is a deal.
All right, so you're at a 4. You're below the line of like not concerned. I'm above the line, shocker, of concern, but not that. I'm the same difference of over the line. I'm at a 6. And I'm not thinking that this is going to be or should be a cause of freak out or, oh, you traded for damaged goods for 2024. No, it's a 4-year contract. We still don't know what the official extension is, but if you're going to give the guy $55 million guaranteed in a 4-year deal that could be up to 76, close to $80 million. What is it going to be like in 25 and 26 in those years when L'Jarius Sneed is approaching 29 and 30 years old? And you're still got a lot of guaranteed money on the books for this cornerback who now has this knee injury that won't go away. I know you said it's late March, right? Like this thing can get fixed, right? It shouldn't be that problem. Well, when he heard it initially ahead of the AFC Championship game, 2 AFC title games ago, and he played through it, right? He got through it. They won the Super Bowl. Then he had a whole offseason, but he still missed 3 weeks of training camp, had to miss the entire preseason, got back for week
let's
1.
Stop there. That I don't care. That
What do you mean?
The season matters. The preseason and training camp, I don't.
No, you're missing.
They pull players. They don't play
exactly. I wasn't done making my point.
But I'm talking that particular point. I omit because that doesn't matter.
There was a concern that he wouldn't be ready to go when the season started,
but he was.
And he was on the injury report until the bye week in week 9. So I think
that was justified. Some of that is nuance of coaching, right? And Bill Belichick, notorious from doing that. We're going to slap your ass on the injury report so we don't have to fully practice you every single week. They do that to veteran players. They do that to young guys. They do that to high commodity guys. And I think that's probably a sin. So,
again, you're still not letting me finish my point of what you said. It's late March. You should be fine for the season. The point that I'm trying to make is that L'Jarius Sneed initially got injured in January of 2023, yet 12 months later, the Chiefs were still having to manage that injury, and they had to manage the injury the entire season. So it's something that lingered. It did not just heal and go away with off-season time. So is it going to be a chronic thing for him for the foreseeable future? If it didn't go away in 8 months of off season the first time and you had to manage it for 5 months and he still played well, then it's still something that it makes me above the 5 line of I'm a little concerned about it. Not as much for right now, but I'm concerned about it for the duration of the contract. Where's the out of the contract where the Titans can cut him and limit their dead cap in 2 years, right? If it's set up like Ridley, it's probably going into year 3. And so I think I want to see that stuff. I have some slight concern about it because there are some things that showed up on tape that maybe didn't show up in the box score. L'Jarius Sneed didn't give up a touchdown catch in the regular season, but it wasn't like he was just locked down on everything. He wasn't getting thrown at. Like, he had such a great reputation that teams were not targeting him, or they were making pre-snap decisions to look the other direction. But if you go watch the All-22, there's times where he got burnt because he missed early at the line of scrimmage, or he didn't have a great he struggles when it comes to stop routes, which is what Calvin Ridley does really well. If you go watch James Foster's tape on A to Z Sports Film Room. So there's some things that showed up on tape, not in the box score, that says, maybe that's because the knee was giving him some problems throughout the year, even if he had a stellar season.
What about all the other teams inquiring about him? I think there's value to that, to have less concern. If more people are wanting you, I think that more people don't feel the same way of concern.
Look, fair question to ask, and I'm going to point back to the tweet that broke the news from Adam Schefter on Friday night. I was sitting at a pickleball bar in Charlotte, and Adam Schefter comes through with the breaking news, and it was the fact that Chiefs are expected to receive the 2025 third-round pick. Trade is pending a physical for Sneed. Like, the fact that the initial tweet said trade is pending a physical for Sneed tells me that we see trade tweets all the time. Not all of them have.
If he fails the physical, then it's a deal. But that's how trades always work, bro. Come on. They always pinned a physical. Every single solitary trade ever pins a physical.
But not every trade announcement tweet has pending physical.
I haven't gone back to Adam Schefter's tweets, but it's pending a physical. There's something there. I didn't say that there wasn't anything there.
Justin Fields gets traded to the Steelers. It was, there was no, pending physical for that to be stated. He's got something going on with it. There's a reason why that part of it is newsworthy in this particular situation.
Now, what if Brian Callahan would have said, well, we got to wait till he passes his physical? Then I think something else.
He did say we have to wait till it's official.
Well, official's different than physical. But yeah, I think you do your due diligence. I think you look at all of the other teams inquiring about him. I don't think this was a Chiefs, we know something you guys don't know, take him off of our hands. And Austin, I'll kind of go full circle. You said, based on the knowledge, the Chiefs were willing to franchise tag him, right? Pay him $19 million.
Because they didn't want to commit the long-term guaranteed money to a guy they had to manage a knee injury with for 13 months. That's a part of it. That's a part. Yeah, of course it's my opinion. It's our show.
but that you can't state it as fact. Like, that's the reasoning behind it. That's kind of what you're trying to do.
I think there's a significant.
If they're willing to ride with a guy, they're not going to do that guy with a bum knee.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd be more willing to bring him back if his knee long term was not something that you had to constantly manage and deal with overall. All right, we got a ton of super chats and also a really good film breakdown from James Foster that we're going to get to as well.
Last thing I'll say, it's not Caleb Farley's back. Okay, no. That was the biggest red flag of any red flag. That if there's been a red flag, that's the red flag. Said that from day number one. That was the dumbest pick that you could ever do, because backs are different than knees. That was the whole. I think I said that was one of the statements when that happened. Backs are different than knees. Modern medicine is better with knees than they are with backs.
For sure.
There's a glass half full.
Well, if you tear your knee, that'll cost you a solid 10 months. All right, so let's get to this great film breakdown from our guy James Foster, A to Z Sports Film Room, and some super chats here in a second. But Krebs Kubota is where you should go for all of your equipment needs. They are the best equipment provider across Middle Tennessee and an elite Kubota dealer, which means that Krebs Kubota has the best equipment in the industry and the best warranties in the industry. They also have 3 locations. They started in Columbia over 18 years ago. And because of their great customer service and how they treat their customers, they were able to expand. Great business and family owned and operated, goes from just Columbia to adding stores in Franklin and Murfreesboro as well. So if you need anything this spring as it's heating up and you're doing those outside projects, makes Krebs Kubota a part of your stop, because they treat their people right and have the best stuff in the industry online at KrebsKubota.com.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today in your Apple or Android app store. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZSPORTS. All one word, no spaces. You can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. That's key. For new users, use that bonus code ATOZ Sports and download the BetMGM app today.
All right, so we're going to get to James Foster's film breakdown, but I do want to get to some super chats here about this Sneed trade. Supreme Nick came in early. The way Rand is making these signings makes Derrick Henry leaving not feel so bad. It's like, if something hurts, it's the whole major pain thing. Like, give me your finger. You got shot in the leg. Give me your finger. Snap your finger. The leg didn't hurt so bad anymore. You're distracting it because you're signing all these new shiny objects over here with Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard and Lloyd Cushenberry now trading for Sneed. And you forget that Derrick Henry wore that purple suit and sat in a throne in Baltimore just a week and a half ago. It does make it feel a little bit better for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Noah comes in and says, also improving the DB room indirectly improves the wide receiver room and helps the develop a quarterback in camp. Good competition breeds good players. Zach, Nate Washington, one of your favorites. What do you always used to say?
Iron sharpens iron.
Kicking the King says, this past Friday was my last chemo treatment out of 6, and Rand blessed us with a steal of a trade. The NFL draft can't come any sooner. 30 days away. Can't wait. How about that? Kicking to the King. Big shout out to our guy, Kicking the King Productions, for that. Had no idea.
That good news on a Monday.
I had great news on a Monday. I love to hear that. And Kane comes in with a super chat, says S&B missed more than 2 games because of a thumb than Sneed has with his knees. Make that make sense because y'all wanted S&B back. He will be fine. The S&B thumb thing was strange. I'm not sure we ever got an answer on what happened, but it seemed like it was a pain tolerance or functional thing. Like he couldn't function and like use his hand, and he kind of need to do that. And he might have needed surgery, but I don't know what the result was of that. But yeah, I thought it was a strange thing that a cornerback missed a lot of time with a thumb injury, because you can still backpedal, you can still run, wrap it up in a Patrick Willis style club and go out there and make plays. Now, and Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think, was a tough player for the Titans and played well at times. And I would have been totally fine if they brought him back. But clearly, they upgraded with getting Cheeto and Sneed at their outside corner positions.
Yeah, and they did a good job of, look, last year's a bridge year. You could tell it by the free agent signings is just a bridge year. This year is the big year. You can tell that.
No doubt. All right, let's get to James Foster's film breakdown. This is really good stuff. You can find the full video on the YouTube channel for A to Z Sports Film Room.
One of the most physical and aggressive press corners in the NFL. He had a great season statistically in 2023, 12 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, just 2 touchdowns allowed. He ranked in the top 10 in a lot of key coverage metrics like forced incompletion rate, yards per cover snap, EPA per target. Since 2021, he leads all cornerbacks in total press coverage snaps. Last year, he had the highest wide receiver 1 shadow rate. He's a player that's going to cover a team's top wide receiver and just beat them up at the line of scrimmage. On this play from the wild card round, he hits Tyreek Hill with a 2-hand punch at the line of scrimmage. You can see the knockback he creates on initial contact, and then he drives him into the grass and ends his route. Right here on the backside of the play, he's showing more of a bail technique pre-snap, and then he gets up in DJ Moore's frame, puts him on his back. This play from the Jets game, it's 3rd and 11. He just fires his hands into Garrett Wilson's frame, doesn't even let him get off the line of scrimmage. So in man coverage, L'Jarius Sneed can keep receivers from getting into their routes, and as long as you got a pass rush that can get there relatively quickly, that's going to take away quarterbacks' first reads and hopefully result in a lot of sacks. Now, his aggressive play style does come with some drawbacks. He's not going to win every press coverage rep, so there are times he'll be over aggressive at the line of scrimmage and get beat down the field if the receiver's able to work through that initial contact. Right here, he gives Jamar Chase a 2-hand punch. He's able to power through that a little bit, and when Sneed's recovering downfield, he's holding onto his left arm, which draws a pass interference. Right here, another stiff punch at the line of scrimmage, moves Devontae Parker back about about 2 yards. Once he swipes his hands down and accelerates downfield, Sneed does a decent job recovering, but they throw kind of a back shoulder fade and he can't adjust. Right here, he kind of overextends, leans too far forward. Deebo Samuel does a good job beating the press coverage here, and then when Sneed tries to recover, he gets caught up in traffic, so Samuel's wide open in the end zone, but Brock Purdy overthrows him because he's getting hit, and his extreme physicality will also result in some penalties. Right here, he just assaults Justin Jefferson on the backside of a run, but he gets his hands on his face mask and draws an illegal contact penalty. And then on this play, he's a little too grabby past the 5-yard window, and he draws a penalty as well.
Assault. Whenever I see that word, I hear the Adam Schefter tweet, Myles Garrett on New Titans backup Mason Rudolph. Assault.
I hear that, and then I hear that's assault, brother.
Oh man, I mean that is like it's. You think like, oh, that's one way to play press man coverage. Like, good Lord, you don't think of it being that aggressive, which was my one word on the whole trade. But I mean, you can't get more aggressive than that than just attacking wide receivers at the chest, right? You got to be good enough to do it, and you have to be strong as hell and quick. But it is very impressive when it works. But that's where you can get burned pretty quickly if you miss.
Yeah, and if you're good enough to do it and you do it, it does a couple of things. It for the wide receiver that you're playing against, which usually is going to be the top tier wide receiver, right? That's why we saw Jefferson and Chase and all those guys. Parker for the Patriots, he may have been their best wide receiver.
Tyreek Hill was in that group too.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about just for the Patriots.
No,
that was their problems, but. It frustrates them, right? And that helps you throughout the course of the game. Sometimes wide receivers get frustrated. They start pouting on the sidelines. They start bitching and moaning at their offensive coordinator or their quarterback, right? And that's all while Sneed's on the sidelines getting a drink of water, right? We're waiting to go back out. That, I think, is the fun and the exciting part about the way that he plays. And shout out to James Foster. And this is a straight direction. If you guys love the NFL and enjoy getting educated on different players, go to our YouTube page, just type in A to Z Sports Film Room in the search bar and subscribe to our Film Room channel. Not only do we have Titans coverage, James does that. We've got short film, we've got TikTok, and we also have Instagram and great coverage over there. But YouTube is kind of where our core central videos are on Film Room. So I posted that and pinned that in the comment section. Go follow it. It's awesome. And it's consistent. Yeah. Every single week there's new breakdowns to get ready in the off season and in season.
And Billy says, I was sick of lining up 10 yards off the ball in 3rd and 5. Yeah. How about you just punch the guy in the face right off the snap and just see how the pretty diva wide receiver is going to take that.
Who was the corner a couple of years ago Jackrabbit. Janoris Jenkins.
Look,
that dude, he's 16 yards off the line.
To be fair, Jackrabbit was 37 years old and needed to not get torched. You have to, you got to give him a little bit of wiggle room on that overall. So, look, I think, L'Jarius Sneed is going to be fun as hell to watch. I want him to stay healthy. Like, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer like somebody accused Zach of just bringing up this knee injury so much. But I really think that this guy's a good player. He's going to be fun to watch. He's physical as hell, and they don't make a lot of people like him right now that play cornerback. I think a lot of kids these days want to be the wide receiver rather than the cornerback. So L'Jarius Sneed built a little different to be wanting to go up there and play so physical like that. And, it's a risky approach, but it's fun.
Yeah. And we're coming back. I want to read this real quick. Maybe we'll save this. If we talk about Sneed tomorrow, this is actually a pretty good article on CBS Sports, but basically 3 reasons the Chiefs got so little for the Titans cornerback for new Titans quarterback.
Yeah.
I thought those 3 reasons. Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to save it? I mean,
I think we should save it. We're already an hour, 4 minutes into this because
I just found it honestly during the show. I thought there were 3 pretty good reasons. So let's touch on that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, there was an age where you had like Richard Sherman, Darrelle Revis, like you had those premier corners that were paid all of the money. And I'm curious to see what the cornerback position is evolving into. As you said, more young players want to be that Tyreek Hill, get paid, the 30 mil, but cornerback is still a very valuable position, and Sneed will be valued if he passes his physical.
Yeah, no doubt. Bork says Zach was in Vegas. Austin was in Charlotte. I was with my brother's buddies in Charlotte for his bachelor party. And Buck was in LA for a wedding. What a time for Titans breaking news. Yeah, Buck had to step out in an alley and do an Instagram reel after giving a speech at a rehearsal dinner. I've already mentioned I was at a pickleball bar, which is something that we'll talk about after the show about a future business opportunity with you, Zach. But what were you doing in Vegas when this?
I was in the middle of it's not like a party bus, but one of those like private buses that we were going to dinner, but there was like 17 of us in the bus.
And it's basically like a pedal tavern, but not Nashville, in a bus.
Yeah, it was like it's like a Mercedes, like what are those vans called?
Sprinter vans.
Sprinter vans. Yeah, right. It's like a Sprinter van. And so I'm in there, and then of course we're loading up to go to dinner, and boom, that happened. So I'm in the back. I was at the back corner just texting and looking at all the news, being non-social. And then but hey, good thing for our team being ready. And I thought we did a good job of handling that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, let us go ahead and get to how we end every Monday show, which is with the Monday age game. But first, I want to tell all you guys about our great friends at Wilson County Hyundai. Go make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon. Say hey to Payne Bone for us, and check them out, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Make them a part of that new car buying process. So, Zach, it is the age game that we play every Monday, and we have our leaderboard. I was so close to making the leaderboard last week, but Titans Kyle, John Kavanaugh, Mark D on the age game leaderboard. There's no wiggle room. You got to get this thing dead on with the ages. So what do you have in store for us today? I had the chat hidden, so I will play along.
Yeah, we've got a good one. And I kind of changed it mid go. And I did that because I think this one is a funnier one. Let's just say that. So I went to Vegas, as we said, right? Went and experienced March Madness, was there for less than 48 hours, came back, felt like I was there for 3 weeks. But one of the things that makes me think about Vegas, I was kind of going through some of the staples of Vegas, and I landed on Magic. And there was this magician at this bar we went to, and I mean, unbelievable, right? I wrote on the card, and then he picked the card, put it in one of my buddies, or the guy I was with, in his watch. Illusionist. Well, one guy that makes me think of Vegas is the Mind Freak. How old is Chris Angel? Mind Freak. That is your age game. Mind Freak Chris Angel. And remember, Chris Angel has 2 S's of the word Chris. So he is CHRISS. That may help you. That may not. But how old is Chris Angel Mind Freak?
I have nothing to base this on at all.
Well, I gave you an easy one last week, so this one's going to be a little bit more difficult.
I mean, how recent is
you do know who the Mind Freak is, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, I know, but I don't have like a timestamp reference of like when did his like stuff start being like on TV and thing. I don't. I'm like maybe like 2003 or something when this guy started to really take off. I have no idea. Is that a recent picture?
He has 2 S's in the name Chris.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say that Chris Angel is 46. That's my answer.
Final A to Z?
Yep. Lock it in. Final A to Z. 46.
Let's go to the chat. Stephen King, 54 is our first guess that I see. Yep, that is the first guess. Rooney goes 48. 45 from Rashid. All three of those are incorrect. Ashley goes 39. He is older than 39, Ashley. Orlando goes 48. That is wrong. 53 is incorrect. We have our winner, and man, oh, this is tough because it came in boom, boom, boom. You were off by 10 years. He is 56 years old, and the first one, based on this, Brock Kraft is our winner and our champion this week.
Wow.
56 years old. So I don't know if you knew that.
No, I clearly did not. No idea. But that is
Chris Angel Mind Freak. See, you learned something today. That was a tougher one. I have to admit.
Very tough. Man, that's crazy. Devin's fighting it in the chat saying he was first. Look, we have the order of how it happens.
Let's see, who was David Brown was close. It was really between Brock Kraft and David Brown, but Brock Kraft, based on this software, he gets it. So Brock Kraft, put it on the board. Yes.
All right.
Right there. Titans Kyle, John Cavanaugh, Mark D, Brock Kraft. That is our championship board right there.
Shout out to Brock on that. That'll do it for us. We'll talk more L'Jarius Sneed, I'm sure, tomorrow. Also, maybe some comments from Brian Callahan, Rand Carthon from the owners' meetings in Orlando later today. I know Sam's got some content coming up, and a Titans of 2 later on. Buck Rising, a little vacation as Buck is out in LA for a wedding. So we'll see you guys back tomorrow morning on a Tuesday. So make sure you hit that like button, like the show before you go. Hit the subscribe to the channel button as well if you're watching on YouTube. But Facebook, YouTube, like the show. We're going to have a great week of content. So we'll see you guys later on. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.